Right, I have been here for 2 days. I'm standing outside waiting to come in, myself and my wife. It's lovely warm up here, by the way, the heat is great. I'm from that tiny little school there, beside the island of Jura, and it's the Islay High School. If you ever open, and I'm sure nobody here has, opened a bottle of Bowler whiskey, if you read the label it says School Street. We're at the end of School Street. The tunnel's nearly there. It's not quite there, but it's nearly there. It's taken us 9 years. So, Islay High School. First of all, I'm using XMind, free open source piece of software for creating mind maps, very useful, and I love the word free. And I will be referencing my beautiful assistant over here, Russell, who's been enjoying his time in Islay for the last year, I think is the phrase. So if you want to check the facts, ask him. Geographically, where are we? And I was given into trouble by my wife, who's a primary school teacher, and primary school teachers can give you into trouble in such a special way. Now, did you really mean that? Really, by calling it where the hell is Islay anyway? Islay is off the west coast of Scotland, and come on, respond. And it's the southernmost of the islands. Great distilleries, come on, you can do it. It's been sitting over there charging for an hour. And it's geographically located off the west coast. We cover 2 islands. We have pupils who get a Land Rover to catch a ferry, to catch a bus, to catch a ferry, to get another bus to get to school in the morning. We're 210 kids. And we've been on quite a journey, not just geographically. It's beautiful, it's rather nice. I'm not going to go to the Google Maps, I'm just going to leave that there. Over the last 5 years, we decided to look at what we were doing, how we were doing it, and decide to change it all. First of all, we looked at our age and stage restrictions, and we said, well actually, why do we teach to an age? Why are we teaching, all right, you're in 3rd year, you've now got to choose 8 subjects and you've got to study them for 2 years and you're going to sit the exams at the end of 4th year and then you move on. Why are we doing that? Why can't we get the kids to choose one level and teach to that level, not to their age? So we now teach multi-age classes from S3 up. They then sit 5 exams at the end of S3 and at the end of S4. And if they stay on the end of S5 and the end of S6, and they're all changing levels all the time. We're constantly, each class will be made up of a range of classes. So S1 and S2, as you expect, do some interdisciplinary tasks. I'll come back to RE in a minute. So S5, 3, 4, 5 and 6 are a single cohort. This has had a massive effect on our scorings. Our kids are achieving way above the national average. Way above. They're sitting 5 subjects, 5 periods a week, 2 double periods, a single period, and they're getting very much more into their subject. Sometimes they don't like it. But kids don't like school, sometimes. We've introduced tutor classes where we teach them to learn to learn. We teach them how to thinking skills, all those kind of things. How do you actually reflect on your learning? What are you doing with your learning? How have you achieved? How are you going to do better next time? What are you going to do for your small pieces of learning? How are you going to get better and better? And let's just do that. But RE is an interesting one. We advertised for an RE teacher, failed to get one. So we removed RE completely from the timetable. We now teach RE as a conference. We say to the kids, we're going to look at one particular moral issue, one particular philosophical issue. You're not going to be sitting, you're going to be learning about Sikhism again. You're going to be thinking through these moral issues. You're going to do it as a debate, not as a class, and then come up with classes. It's still an experimental stage, but it has some interesting results. One of the last one was on euthanasia. Someone stood up and said, who believes that people should choose when they die if they reach their end? And everybody went, the whole school body went, we don't believe that. Right? They should choose. Absolutely. People should choose when they die. We then gave them real scenarios. Person who's had a brain injury. Person who's been injured in Afghanistan. Who've lost maybe half a brain. Who are feeling very, very down. And then they moved on. Or we said, should they have the right to choose or not? And by the end of it, half the year group, half the entire school had changed their mind. So they're thinking through these moral issues, which is a bit more interesting than sitting, right, why do Sikhism? But it works. Leadership. The leadership is distributed, and I can witness that because Russell is a teacher. He's, 3 years out of college? 4 years out of college. And Russell is having to lead things. Admittedly, that's to do with the size of the staff. Okay, but have you all seen Local Hero? There's a brilliant line in Local Hero where he says, if you look at the one job, and actually that's like Islay, because everybody's got about 10 jobs, they have to get on with them. I myself am acting deputy head, but I also teach 23 periods a week, so it's a bit difficult to get it all in sometimes. So it's distributed. It's led. I was a PT. I led the ICT development. We'll come to that in a minute. A PT leads health and well-being. Teachers are heavily involved with TLC. Teaching and learning community is a fantastic way of sharing what you're doing, how you're doing it. Works a bit like this, but a bit more formalised. And I'll come to the bit that catches everybody's attention, the technology. We have tablet PCs. This is a tablet PC. You've all seen them. They've become very familiar now. Every teacher has a tablet PC. Every teaching area has a wireless projector and a sound system. So I can walk about my classroom like this, writing on the tablet, and it just appears on the screen. So I'm sitting with the kids, not short, fat, baldy man for govern, turning round, going, right, what's happening here, and covering up half the board. I just don't understand this desire for interactive whiteboards. They're still making the teacher stand to the front. Primary settings are different. They work much better there, I think. Secondary, not quite got it yet. The pupils each have a touch screen, so they're working on a touch screen, similar to what we're doing here. The difference is that quite often, what I'm writing on my board is appearing on their screens, and what they write on their screens appears on my board. Constantly interacting, truly interacting. If you want to see that in action, speak to Russell. He'll show you his tablet, UR Misses for R, and he'll be able to show you how that works. His classes are set up. We also have a media server inside the school with 3,500 hours of video on it. We can call up that video when we want it. We can take clips out of that video. This changes how the classroom can work. And this is what I want to get the students to think about. I want you to think, if you were going into a school, how would you set up a lesson? How would you be approaching? What would your expectations be? Would you, as the English department doing, the homework is to watch Shrek, not to wheel in the trolley with the telly on it and try and figure out when the video goes in and, oh, I'll get it there in a minute, you'll clunk and press play. Their homework is to watch Shrek, so they download that onto their devices, they take it home, they spend an hour and a half doing homework. How many kids spend an hour and a half doing homework? They watch Shrek and they arrive back at class, having watched it, if they've done their homework, ready to talk about Shrek. Not watch it in class, creating much more time to be used. The science department, the physics teacher, they notice that one, it's a slightly different scale from Kenny's school of 1800, where we have got 210. The physics teacher has got the kids to record them doing formulas and speaking what they're doing. And so he now listens to them back and says, I now understand what this misconception is. I'm hearing it, I'm seeing it. I don't need them to do all these formulas one after the other. So what would you change if you were going into a class like that? How would you approach a class? I'm on Twitter. In fact, it's up there just now on the screen. Islay Ian. I would like answers back. Are you going into class thinking, oh well, schools always work like this, and you move on to this part, and thank you?